Welcome back to another edition of the Baseball Dad podcast. And today we have a very special guest, Kevin Dewey from SportsDadHub.com, and he's going to share with us some of the tips and advice that he has to create balance, which is a huge problem now in baseball, is creating that balance between how much do we push our kids, how much do they practice, how much do they play, versus having a home life and having family time and making sure we create that symmetry in both environments. So, Kevin, welcome, and thanks for coming on.
Oh, man, thanks so much, Paul. Honored to be here. Big fan of your recent book, and honored to be here, so thanks.
Cool. So give us the snapshot. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to create the website.
Yeah, so really, I'm a sports dad of 3 boys, and we've got a little girl now too. Who's going to be turning 3 this fall. But back 5 years ago or so, when my boys were getting into youth sports and stuff, and kind of getting to the point where my oldest was starting to grow out of like the rec league stuff, and we were looking, he was looking for something a little bit more competitive, but at the same time, I didn't want to get into anything, crazy with him and stuff. And so I was really kind of looking online for some guidance, just some other, some outlet out there where other dads have experienced the same thing, and kind of, what steps they took and how they evaluated, different programs around their town and just different things like that. Because, unfortunately with sports, it's not like, going and, applying for a job and, where you can go and interview different clubs and organizations and coaches and stuff. It's kind of like, you just pick one and sign up and you're stuck with them for the season. And so I was just kind of looking for some guidance, but I didn't really find it out there. And I was like, you know what, like, I'm sure I'm not alone in this. And so I enjoyed writing and stuff. And so I'm just going to start something myself and see where it goes. Just to kind of maybe be a resource for other dads, who are looking for the same thing, and just kind of share my experiences and different things like that. So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, and I love that. When you create the site that you need, that you want to have. What do you? I think for a baseball dad, there's a lot of confusion. On am I missing out? Right? They call it, what is it? FOMO, right? Fear of missing out.
Right.
Am I pushing too hard? Am I not pushing enough? Is my kid gonna, turn 16 and say, Dad, why didn't you push me harder? Or is he gonna turn 16 and say, Dad, thank you so much for not pushing me too hard? What advice do you have for the dads that are listening who might be in that situation now where they, kind of don't know what to do?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest struggle we all face, really, and it's so the philosophy that I use is I see myself as being the person who provides the fuel, and my kids are the drivers basically of their youth sports experience. And so what I mean by that is, so instead of just going and signing up, one of my kids for spring and summer hockey just because more than half of the other kids on the team are doing it, I'm kind of gauging what he's doing. Like, so basically, is he whenever he's home and has free time, is he putting in the work himself and pulling the net out in the street and shooting pucks and playing pickup hockey all the time, or baseball? It can be any sport, really. Just kind of look for the signs that your kid is wanting more, and then just talk to them about it and ask them, if they are wanting to do certain things. But then also, as parents, you gotta use your own judgment too, because you can't expect your 9 and 10-year-old to know what's best for them. And so I really believe in giving kids off seasons. It's so easy now to play any sport all year round, and that's exactly what the clubs want you to do. And you feel so much pressure doing it because, like you said, the fear of missing out, the fear of my kid's one of the top 3 kids on the team right now. If he doesn't do the off season stuff, is he going to be middle of the pack next year? And there's all that fear. And I really think that one of the ways that you can provide fuel for your kids and make them love their sport is to make them miss it. Whenever they get away from the sport, and they're just they can't wait to get, my kids, I make them take spring and summer off, and as far as hockey goes. And with baseball, we don't play fall baseball, we don't play winter baseball. And so by the time their seasons are coming back around again, they can't wait to get back out there And where the kids that have been out there, all year round, it's just, the start of the season is just another day. It's just another day on the ice or another day on the ball field or in the cages or whatever. There's, it can really rob them of the excitement of playing the sport.
It's as silly as this sounds. I talk all day long to dad's coaches for the bulk of my life, and with this problem that we've had now with Troubleball, I've never heard anyone say that. Make your kid miss it. And the immediate thing that came back to me was being a kid. My dad was really involved in Little League. He used to cut the lawn, mow the lawn, and take care of the field. And I can remember them getting the field ready and waiting for opening day.
Yeah.
And I remember counting down the days to opening day. And I just never have thought about that. But just you bringing it back, saying I remember it being February and March, and I don't remember, I think opening day was first week of April or whatever it was, but I just remember that excitement of I can't wait to play baseball, and I guess we don't have that now.
Yeah, and really, as far as baseball goes, if you ask me, there's nothing that'll kill the love of baseball more than being inside in the winter in a cage. That's the worst form of baseball ever, if you ask me. And I'm a baseball guy. That's my sport. It's my main sport, But I just hated the inside. Once we got outside, man, I could be out there all day. But put me inside in the cage, and oh man, it's just that gets old really quick. And if you're 10, 11 years old and you got your buddies wanting you to come over and play and stuff, and I got to go to baseball. It's December 15th, and I got to go to baseball. Inside. that would drag on a kid.
What do you think Dad should look for, as warning signs that maybe this is getting to be too much, or maybe he's doing it just because we want him to, or he doesn't want to be a bad kid, you know what I mean, and not be into it. What do you think are some of those signs we should look for?
Yeah, I mean, really, I think is your kid playing the sport whenever he has free time around the house? Is he playing with his friends, playing catch with his friends, shooting hoops, whatever his sport is? Like I said, pulling the net out and shooting pucks. Is he doing that kind of stuff? Or is whenever he's home from practice and games, he doesn't want anything to do with the sport? I think that's a big sign, because then you kind of know that he's not really having fun maybe in it anymore, because when you're a kid and you find something that's fun, you want to do it all the time. And so if they're not doing it in their free time, then that would be a big sign. And then obviously if he's not wanting to go to practice, or kind of upset when he has to go to practice and oh man, just kind of down when he has to go to practice, and just obviously just keep the communication open. When you're taking home from practice, ask him if he had fun, and ask him what he liked about the practice, and if he's kind of showing signs that he's not really enthusiastic about what is going on, and just kind of talk about it and see. I guess if you're in the middle of the season, I think you're kind of stuck, because I believe in seeing through your commitments, but maybe
absolutely,
obviously not do anything for the night once the season comes to an end. Let them take maybe a longer break than normal or something like that.
What do you think kids should do by age? We have all kinds of dads listening to this podcast. So I guess the question I'm looking for is and I don't know if there's maybe a defined answer, but I'd love to hear your opinion on it. From start of sports to what age do you think we should be experimenting? And then, so younger kids kind of go with their parents, sign them up to, right?
Yeah.
When do you think that kind of, where you have to maybe start listening to your kids? Because I feel like some, how do I explain? I feel like some kids maybe they go along for it, or they, or they say no, I don't want to do it. And it's all right, you're doing it. It's a couple hours a week. It's not a big deal at this point. What age, do you see that breakdown kind of coming in?
Yeah, and I think this is one of those where it's different for every kid. But so I think it's probably when kids are really young, talking 4 or 5, 6 years old, and it's their first year playing the sport. I think that's, you know, and if maybe they're not all that enthusiastic about it, that's when you kind of like just, you know, make them, you know, take them to the soccer games and stuff, just to let them see if they like stuff or not, you know, and give it a season. And if, you know, by the end of the season, if they absolutely hate it, then obviously don't sign up for that next year. Look for something else for them to do. But really, I mean, beyond the first year of playing a sport, after they've already tried playing a sport, if they don't want to go, like, what is the point? You know, like, what are you doing it for, you know?
Right.
Find something. I'm just big in finding something that your kid could be passionate about and have fun doing, and just an activity that they love to do where they're active and, you know, pouring their, you know, focus and, you know, mindset into something, whether it's, you know, music, maybe it's not sports, you know? I mean, let's face it, not every kid is going to like sports. So if it's music, follow his love of music, or, you know, if it's scouting, follow his love of outdoors and fishing and all that kind of stuff. You know, just make sure you help your kid find something that is their thing. And, you know, if you grew up being a baseball guy, hardcore baseball guy, so, you know, me, for example, my oldest son, my firstborn, his name is Gehrig, after Lou Gehrig. And, you know, everything was like trending like perfectly, Paul. He was a lefty, natural lefty. He was a pitcher. He liked to play first base. I mean, I'm serious. It was like, he was a good looking pitcher, and like, you wouldn't believe all the comments I got about, man, you know, I'm not investing in him. He's a lefty. He's throwing that hard. And it was like, it was awesome. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, around, he was probably, you know, 11 years old, he was just like, you know what, I don't know. I don't really know if I want to play baseball anymore. And I was fine with it. You know, and it's just because it's like it's his sport. You know, he wanted to just keep, you know, playing hockey, and didn't really want to play baseball anymore. And I kind of saw the signs, you know, like we were talking about before, the season before. He was kind of like, you know, he wasn't all that enthusiastic about going to practice, and just kind of seemed like he wasn't really having all that much fun with it. And then, you know, fortunately, he was comfortable enough to just tell me, hey, I don't really want to play this anymore. And like I said, I was fine with it.
You know, a problem that we deal with all the time is that baseball is often the connector, you know, and so we see that from the dad's side, from the kid's side. Like, I don't want to play anymore. I want to go do something else. Yeah. But now from the dad's side, it's almost like kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought we were in this together. Yeah. You know, and believe it or not, it sounds like, yeah, we're all grown men, but, you know, there is a little bit of, I'm kind of missing out on something that was fun for me too. And it was something that was connecting us with our kids. So I know you're a big believer in striking that balance. And so I try and help guys never get to that point. Let's talk about balance. What are some of the things that you feel like in your family or the people that you've coached and mentored, what are some of the things you do to help create balance?
I think the biggest thing is just try to help them not have their self-identity revolve around sports, and not have their self-worth revolve around sports. You know, because they could have an injury tomorrow, and they could prevent them from playing sports anymore, or you know, they could just fall out of love with playing a sport and not like it anymore. And then it's like, then what do they do? You know, if their whole identity and their self-worth is wrapped up into, you know, a sport or playing sports, and then when that's gone, that's going to be a huge void for them in their life, you know. And so just use sports as a tool, you know, to help build your kids into great adults, you know. So use sports as a way to teach them leadership and commitment and hard work and hustle and teamwork and, you know, humility and empathy, all those great things that you can learn from sports. Use sports as the vehicle, you know, to teach your kids about all that stuff, and instead of using sports as the end game and the end, you know, goal of what you have. Does that make sense? That's kind of my
absolutely.
And so I don't know if that answers your question about balance or not, but I think if you just have perspective about things, it'll, like, the balance, I think, will naturally kind of happen. You know, so if you're not having your kids revolve their world around sports, you're going to have other activities and do other things with them and take other interests, and, you know, make sure they have other interests in different things too. Help them find other things that they like, and, you know, even if it may not be the thing that you love, you know, suck it up, man. You're an adult. You know, get involved in it, and you know, take an interest because it's something that they like, you know, and so that you can have a connection with anything if you try hard enough as a parent.
you know, you mentioned a couple times different activities. What's your view on balancing that out as well? Do you feel like it's important for a kid to have a non-sports activity? Like I guess karate would be under a sport, but I feel like that's maybe a different category because it's a little. I think you know what I mean, right? It's kind of because there's a lot of other elements to it, but you know, like karate or you know, even I spoke with a dad the other day whose son's on a coding team, and that's like computer coding, you know. You know, against other schools. I didn't know they had those, but they do. Do you feel like there should be a little bit of that?
Yeah, I do, but I mean, it's kind of obviously rely on your kid and what interest your kid has too. So I'll just take, I guess the best way I can speak to it is just from experience. And so my middle son is really getting involved in, or not really getting involved, but just he loves fishing. And what's bad is that like my dad never took me fishing when I was a kid, so I'm like terrible at like helping him fish, you know. But I'm trying to, you know, learn it with him and stuff. But the thing that stinks is that we're so darn busy with the, you know, his hockey and his younger brother's hockey and soccer and stuff. And it's because he plays, you know, my middle son plays AAA hockey, and my younger son, his younger brother is a year younger. He plays AA hockey, and so like we're on the go constantly with hockey. It's you know, a big commitment, time commitment and stuff. And like this weekend we're leaving Thursday. We're going to be up in Detroit for 4 days, and so like a lot of times on the weekends, whenever teams come in town, that they're playing 3 games in the weekend and stuff. And so it's like the time to pour into to fishing and stuff and let them do that stuff, it stinks because it doesn't always it's not always available, you know. So like whenever if we're home for a couple hours, he wants to, you know, he's thinking like, hey, we got a couple hours, yeah, let's go fishing real quick. So we got a park at our house with a lake. But it's like if I'm home for 2 hours, man, there's something for me to be doing. I need to be cutting the grass or doing something around the house. And so that's the biggest challenge I think is as sport parents of multiple kids, just speaking from my experience, is, finding the time to allow them to have those other outside interests.
Right.
That's the biggest challenge for me. And so I try to encourage, like, him and his brothers, like, you guys are old enough, you can go to the park by yourself, and fish and stuff. But I do encourage them to follow those other outside activities and get away from their sport because, I think their sports can feel like a job sometimes. If that's like all they're doing is, school, sports, sleep, eat, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, what I come across a lot is that, because all the time is booked, there's like, where would something new even go? If they were to say, have an interest in something, does that kind of get stifled a little bit? Stifled a little bit by that schedule that we always have to kind of maintain. What would you say? I always like to ask dads this question. I think we've all had like those magic moments around sports, and I've asked this to a lot of dads, and I've never had any dad say it was when he hit that home run. His first home run. It's always something around it. Is there like a magic moment that you had with your son or with your family that you can point to?
The thing that is mainly coming to mind isn't even a moment like where he did anything, or my kid did anything. It was a team thing. The biggest moment I guess that comes up is last year, one of my boys, his team was looking to go undefeated in their hockey season in their league play. And in the last game of the season, they were down 4 goals with like 5 minutes left in the game. And they ended up scoring 4 goals in the last, few minutes of the game to tie the game to remain undefeated. And it was such an emotional, ride. It's like his parents, third period, you're down 4 goals. Like, it was like we had all like already accepted the fact that, okay, we were even like joking, like, all right, where are we going to go for the sympathy, team dinner or whatever. And we all kind of accepted the fact that they were going to lose and they weren't going to, be able to accomplish their goal that they were all talking about and stuff, before the weekend. And then when they did it, it was just awesome. I mean, I got chills right now just like thinking about, you know, the reaction and just seeing their reaction and just seeing kids just have that kind of pure joy, you know, and just, they were just beside themselves, you know, when the game was over and just going nuts and you know, you couldn't get the smile off their faces, you know, it was awesome. So that's probably the biggest one for me.
Yeah. Awesome. So Kevin, you have this great website. You've got a podcast planned.
It's coming out soon.
Yeah. So let's give everyone how they can contact you and subscribe to you and follow you and tweet and whatever else we're doing these days now.
Yeah.
Where can we find out about you?
So obviously, you know, the central, I guess, hub, you know, pun not intended, is just to go to sportsdadhub.com. And if you want to subscribe, you know, there's a subscribe button on the right-hand column, or you can just go to sportsdadhub.com/subscribe. And that way you'll be the first to know when I launch the podcast. And, you know, obviously you'll get a heads up on any kind of promotions and special offers we do. And whenever there's a new blog out, you know, you can go there. And then I'm also really active on Facebook. So it's just facebook.com/sportsdadhub. Or you can obviously just go to sportsdadhub.com and click on the Facebook link there. I enjoy creating different graphics and memes and stuff around being a sports parent, and I try to focus on helping parents have the right mindset and keep the right perspective on things. So a lot of, you know, some of the things that I post will be a little sarcastic, you know, poking fun at parents that are overly intense, and then other things would just be kind of just, you know, like I said, just mindset reminders, just to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, yeah, I need to, you know, check myself here a little bit. So, so those are the best places to go to stay in contact with me.
Awesome. I would encourage everybody listening, you know, go there and subscribe, and follow and like, and because here's why, you know, none of us know how to do this. You know, and I feel like we're the sum of all of our teachers, you know, and if we can get even just the littlest thing, sometimes like a quote or like a post that, I have found that sometimes things show up and, you know, I don't remember liking a page or subscribing or whatever, but then all of a sudden this email pops through or this post comes up and I'm like, wow, that is exactly what I needed at this point. So I'd encourage you guys all to go to sportsdadhub.com/subscribe, and get into Kevin's world. You know, he's doing some great work, and in this journey of guiding our kids through this, we need all the help we can get. So Kevin, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and we'll definitely be having you on again.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Paul. Really, really appreciate your time. And, man, I'm on the journey with everybody else. I, you know, in no way claim to be an expert. I'm just going to share my opinion and my mistakes and, you know, stumbles and lessons I learned along the way. So, I think we can all, that's a great point. We can all learn from each other. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.